Hi, I'm Larry Puckett. As part of my preparations for the video that I released on Friday on static grass, I sent an email to the folks at WWScenics and asked them what it was about their static grass that gave such good performance and good appearance on the layout. And I got a really nice email back from Martin Reese at WWScenics, and Martin is the fellow who does a lot of the video demonstrations of application of the static grass and other products that WWScenics produces. And he laid out 7 tips for getting the best performance from your static grass applicator and the best appearance of your static grass on your model railroad. And I originally planned to include that material as part of last week's video, but that made the video run kind of long. So then I changed my mind, released the video that you have already seen, hopefully, and then decided to do a second bonus video this week to go over Martin's 7 tips for you as part of a separate bonus video, which this is. So I'm going to run through those today, and it's going to be, maybe 8 or 9 minutes long, so fairly short. And that'll give you some idea of some things that you can do to hopefully improve the appearance of your static grass on your layout. So let's go ahead and get started with the video. Hit that little red subscribe button, and when the little bell comes up, click on it and click all. Okay, so let me run through these because there's not a lot. I think there's about 7 different factors that he laid out. And the first one is the fact that their static grass is the finest. And by that, he means it is the thinnest of all of the commercially available static grasses available on the market today. And that's very important from the standpoint of how well the static grass takes a charge and ends up standing bolt upright when it hits the glue surface. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind, that a lot of the cheaper static grasses that you will see advertised on the internet, on eBay, places like that, may be much thicker in texture. So that can be a very important factor. Now another related factor is the fact a lot of these very inexpensive static grasses may not be perfectly straight fibers. They may have little kinks in them, they may have bends, they may have hooks, and that's going to impede how well the static grass comes out and how well it stands up. Now, one of the things that I did point out previously was that these fine static grasses tend to ball up, and that's a result of their being so thin, and they do tend to collect together, and that will happen more in higher humidity and when temperature changes occur, things of that nature. And as I showed, you can use their deballer in order to break up those balls. And one thing that I did in the video that probably wasn't all that great was I basically kind of scrubbed the little balls against the screen here, and that tended to break it up fairly well. But that might have caused some little kinks or bends in the fiber, so it's probably not the best thing to do. So I did go back and test it out by just shaking it side to side, and it worked great without having to do all that rubbing. So in the future, just take it, put your balls of static grass in here, and shake it a little bit side to side, and that will tend to break up those balls. Okay, now what about the ground clip placement? One of the things that Martin told me was that the reason that so many of the inexpensive fly swatter type applicators don't work very well is because they have the electrode placed in the wrong place. Because if you look at their applicator, and also in the one that I built, I placed and they placed the electrode up here at the very top of the basket or the container that you put the static grass into. And that means they've got a electrode here and then another electrode down here. So what happens is when you've got a negative electrode up here at the top and then you're waving this positive electrode down here at the bottom, the static grass in between takes on a negative charge. And this is the positive charge. So that's something that I found interesting, because a lot of the applicators I've seen have the grounding clip as the negative charge and the internal one or the screen as the positive. So if you place the negative in here, the positive here, then once the static grass takes on a negative charge, it's going to be propelled downward towards the positive grounding clip, because negative is attracted to positive. So it's going to be propelled down through the screen and on down to the surface that you're applying it to. And WWScenics is the only company I know of that is promoting using and keeping the ground clip very close to the bottom of the applicator basket. Now, one of the problems that you can run into is that the static grass is going to have a negative charge when it comes out of the bottom of the screen here, of the applicator basket. And if you hold it too high, the static grass can actually lose its charge before it reaches the surface that you're applying it to. So you always want to keep it as close to the surface as you can while you're moving it around. And that's another thing. Keep it moving around. Don't let it sit in one place, because you don't want to build up very heavy layers of it in one area and very light areas in the other, because that's going to affect how well the texture looks. Unless, of course, you're trying to create a differential effect like that. Now, another thing that Martin pointed out, it's very important that you apply glue to the base and also to each subsequent layer, because in order for the grass to stand up properly, it has to have adhesive to attach to. And if you apply adhesive to the base and then start applying more static grass on top of the first, then it's not going to stand up as well if it does not have a second layer of adhesive applied to it. And that's why they use that layering spray as part of their ProGrass system. So you need to apply your glue first, and then put on your base layer of static grass, then apply glue again, and then apply another layer of static grass, and so on, until you're happy with the layers and the textures and the colors that you achieve that way. Well, that's a wrap for today's video. Hopefully Martin's tips gives you some ideas on how you can improve the performance of your static grass applicator, and also the appearance of the static grass on your model railroad. So that's it for today. Have a great week, and I'll see you here on Friday with another video, hopefully, assuming everything comes in time from Walthers, and we'll be able to take a look at that new road bed that Walthers has and go ahead and lay some on the model railroad. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll see you here on Friday. Bye now.